Breaking news from the gospel world. Beloved pastor and gospel icon John P. Key suffered a sudden health emergency right in the middle of his concert, leaving fans in shock and tears. What really happened on that stage? Was this a warning sign he ignored, or something far more serious? Stay with me, because what unfolded behind the scenes will leave you speechless. John P. Key is a name that resonates across generations of gospel music lovers. Known as the Prince of Gospel, he has inspired millions through his powerful voice, heartfelt ministry, and unforgettable songs. But during what was supposed to be another uplifting night of worship, something shocking and unexpected happened. Midway through his concert, reports say the atmosphere shifted instantly when Pastor Key began showing signs of distress. Fans who came to sing, praise, and celebrate suddenly found themselves in a state of panic, many breaking down in tears. This video will uncover exactly what went down during that unforgettable concert, the truth about John P. Key's health, and the emotional reactions from his loyal supporters. We'll also explore what this moment means for the future of his music ministry and how the gospel community has rallied around him. And trust me, you will not want to miss the inside details that have many asking, is Pastor Key's health more serious than we were led to believe? Because as we dig deeper, you'll see why this story is far bigger than one onstage emergency. So grab your seat, because this is where it gets interesting. It was supposed to be one of those unforgettable evenings, an arena filled with thousands of gospel lovers, voices lifted in worship, hands raised, and hearts united in joy. The atmosphere was electric as Pastor John P. Key, known for his commanding stage presence, led the crowd through some of his most beloved songs. People had traveled from different states just to see him perform live, many describing the night as a once-in-a-lifetime experience. From the very start, everything seemed perfect. Key entered the stage with his trademark smile and energy, immediately connecting with his audience. Fans described the opening moments as magical, with the sound of choirs backing him up and the audience singing word for word. It felt like a celebration of faith and community, until, without warning, things took a sudden turn. Midway through a powerful performance, witnesses noticed Key's movement slow down. His normally strong and steady voice wavered. At first, many thought it was just exhaustion from pouring his heart out on stage. But within seconds, it became clear that something wasn't right. Key clutched his chest, his face showing visible discomfort, and suddenly paused mid-song. The band kept playing for a moment, unsure of what was happening. Then the music stopped. Gasps filled the auditorium as Key struggled to keep himself standing. Several background singers rushed to his side, and stage staff quickly signaled for medical attention. What had started as a night of praise instantly shifted into panic. Fans in the audience described the moment as terrifying. Some shouted prayers aloud, others were in tears, and many pulled out their phones in shock, capturing the scene as it unfolded. Social media would soon explode with clips and first-hand accounts, but in that moment, no one knew what would happen next. Security and medical personnel quickly rushed on stage. Key was helped to a chair, and though he appeared conscious, he looked weak and drained. The announcer tried to calm the crowd, but the tension was undeniable. Some fans said they could hear people crying out, "Lord, please cover him," while others stood in silence, holding hands in prayer. The concert was immediately paused. Attendees were asked to remain calm, but inside the auditorium, emotions were running high. People had come for worship and inspiration, but now they were witnessing a beloved gospel figure facing what seemed like a life-threatening emergency. But here's the shocking part. What happened in the moments after Key was escorted backstage raised even more questions about his health, questions that still linger today. When John P. Key was helped backstage, the concert hall was filled with uncertainty. To the audience, it looked like he had suffered a sudden collapse. But the details were unclear. What exactly was happening behind those curtains? Reports from people close to the event suggest that the backstage atmosphere was tense, with staff, family, and medical responders working quickly to assess his condition. One eyewitness who worked as part of the production crew said the moment Key was seated behind the stage, he appeared exhausted and disoriented. He was sweating heavily, and staff quickly brought water and medical equipment. Paramedics were called in almost immediately, though it's still not confirmed whether Key was transported to a hospital that same night. What is clear is that there was an urgent scramble to stabilize him. Meanwhile, out in the audience, fans were left waiting in silence. Some prayed aloud, others quietly held their breath, hoping for an announcement that Key was okay. Minutes felt like hours. Every second without news seemed to intensify the tension. Eventually, an event organizer came out and informed the crowd that Key was being attended to by medical professionals and that the concert could not continue as planned. This announcement drew mixed reactions. Some in the audience broke down crying, devastated that their night of worship had ended in such a shocking way. Others began to express frustration, not because the concert ended, but because they feared something was being hidden from them. Social media began buzzing almost instantly. Fans tweeted and posted live updates, with hashtags about Key's health trending within minutes. Videos of the onstage moment started circulating widely, with thousands of comments flooding in from concerned supporters around the world. For many, it was a reminder of just how much of an impact Pastor Key has had over the years. This wasn't just about one man's health. This was about an entire community of believers shaken to their core. Gospel artists, church leaders, and fans alike began posting messages of support, urging people to pray for him. It quickly became clear that this was not just a private moment of struggle, it was a public event that struck the heart of the gospel community. Behind the scenes, questions loomed. Was this incident tied to a pre-existing health condition? Had Key been pushing himself too hard with his demanding schedule of ministry and performances? Or was it an unexpected medical emergency no one could have predicted? Here's where things get even more intriguing. Some insiders claim that Key had been showing signs of fatigue for weeks leading up to the concert, while others insist he seemed completely fine. The lack of official details from his team only fueled speculation. Was his condition more serious than anyone was admitting? And if so, why was the public being kept in the dark? These unanswered questions kept fans on edge. Everyone wanted to know. Was this just a scare or a sign of something much larger going on with the gospel legend's health? But here's the part that stunned everyone. Within 24 hours, conflicting reports began to circulate, and that's when the story took an even more dramatic turn. In the hours following the concert, the gospel world was on edge. Fans wanted clarity, but what they got instead was confusion. At first, several attendees who posted on social media claimed that Pastor John P. Key had been taken by ambulance to a nearby hospital. Screenshots of supposed eyewitness accounts spread like wildfire, many insisting he had collapsed due to a heart-related issue. But then came another wave of reports, this time from people who claimed to be close to his team, suggesting that Key was fine, resting, and in stable condition. The problem was that no official statement had been released. Without a direct word from Key or his representatives, speculation grew even more intense. On Twitter, gospel artists and church leaders began sharing messages like, "Pray for John P. Key and cover him in the name of Jesus." These posts only fueled the sense that something serious had happened. Some fans interpreted the silence from Key's camp as confirmation that his condition was more critical than what anyone was willing to admit. By the next morning, news outlets began to pick up the story. Local media covered the incident, reporting that Key had suffered what appeared to be a health scare during his performance. Yet even then, details were scarce. Was it exhaustion, dehydration, a heart issue, or something else entirely? Nobody had the full picture. For longtime fans, this uncertainty was especially unsettling because Key's health has been a topic of concern in the past. Over the years, the gospel icon has spoken candidly about his struggles with weight and the challenges of balancing a demanding career with personal health. Those old conversations resurfaced immediately, with fans wondering whether this onstage incident was the result of years of pushing his body beyond its limits. In Facebook groups dedicated to gospel music, discussions became heated. Some argued that fans should respect Key's privacy and simply pray, while others insisted that as a public figure whose ministry touches millions, people had a right to know the truth. The divide only made the story more controversial, as speculation turned into debates across social media platforms. Even more curious was the way some of the conflicting stories painted very different pictures. On one side, you had reassuring claims that Key was doing well and just needed rest. On the other, alarming posts suggested that his health crisis was far from over. One supposed insider even claimed that doctors had advised him to take a long break from performing altogether. But here's where the tension really spiked. Fans began noticing that Key himself had gone silent on his normally active social media pages. Normally, Pastor Key is quick to share messages of encouragement, scripture, or updates with his followers. But after the incident, there was nothing. That silence only amplified the rumors swirling around. As the gospel community tried to make sense of it all, one pressing question rose above the rest. Would this health scare force Pastor John P. Key to step away from the stage permanently? And just when it seemed like the speculation couldn't get any louder, a surprising update surfaced that changed the narrative once again. An update directly connected to Key's ministry and personal life. As the speculation reached its peak, fans were desperate for a word, any word, from Pastor John P. Key or his team. For nearly 2 days, silence dominated his official pages. That silence became louder than any rumor. And by then, the story had already spread far beyond gospel circles. Mainstream blogs began covering the incident, many of them adding their own spin. Some articles claimed Key had been hospitalized, others suggested exhaustion, while a few leaned into more dramatic headlines implying a near-death experience. Finally, after an agonizing wait, Key's ministry team broke their silence. A carefully worded statement was posted to his official Facebook and Instagram pages. It read something along the lines of, "Pastor John P. Key experienced a minor health complication during his recent performance. He is currently under medical care, resting, and in good spirits. We ask that you continue to keep him lifted in prayer as he focuses on his health and recovery." On the surface, the message was reassuring. Words like minor and good spirits seemed designed to calm fans and dispel the darker rumors. But for many, the vague nature of the statement left more questions than answers. What exactly was the minor health complication? Why didn't they specify what happened on stage? And why did Key himself remain silent? The gospel community's response to the statement was immediate. Thousands flooded the comment sections with prayers, encouragement, and love. Messages like, "We're standing with you, Pastor Key, and God's not done with you yet," poured in from around the world. Yet buried in the comments were others demanding transparency. Some argued that vague wording only fueled speculation and worried fans even more. Adding to the mystery, a few gospel insiders began to hint that Key had been warned about his health prior to the concert. One well-known choir director even posted, "Sometimes God gives us signs to slow down before he sits us down." Though not naming Key directly, the timing of the post was enough to stir conversation. Was this health scare something Key could have avoided if he had taken earlier warnings seriously? Meanwhile, news of his health scare became a rallying point in churches across the country. Congregations were holding special prayers for Key. Gospel radio stations dedicated segments of their broadcasts to encourage listeners to pray for him. This was more than just a story. It became a movement of unity, with people across denominations lifting his name in prayer. But here's where the story takes an interesting twist. While Key's team framed the incident as something minor, behind the scenes there were reports that doctors had advised him to drastically reduce his travel and performance schedule. Some even suggested that retirement was quietly being discussed, not because Key wanted to stop, but because his health might force him to. This left fans grappling with a difficult thought. What would gospel music look like without John P. Key's powerful presence on stage? Could the man who had built decades of legacy, who had trained choirs, mentored young artists, and blessed countless lives, really be nearing the end of his active career? And just when supporters were processing the idea of Key stepping back, a personal message from the pastor himself finally appeared online, and it changed everything. After days of anxious waiting, Pastor John P. Key finally broke his silence. In a heartfelt video posted to his official social media pages, Key appeared calm but visibly reflective. He began by thanking God, his medical team, and, most importantly, his fans for their overwhelming love and prayers. "I want to say to every one of you who has lifted me up in prayer, your support means more than words can express," Key said, his voice steady but full of emotion. "These past few days have reminded me that life is fragile, that we must honor the bodies God has given us, and that every moment on this earth is a gift." In the message, Key addressed the incident directly, sharing that he had experienced a sudden health complication on stage. While he did not go into full medical detail, he assured fans that he was under excellent care and following the guidance of his doctors. He emphasized the importance of slowing down, resting, and focusing on personal well-being, lessons he hoped would inspire his followers to take their own health seriously. Fans responded instantly. Thousands commented with prayers, gratitude, and stories of how Key's music had impacted their lives. Clips of the video were shared across social media, with hashtags trending nationwide. Some fans said the moment brought tears to their eyes, not just because they were worried about Key, but because hearing him speak personally reaffirmed the deep connection he has with his audience. The video also served as a reminder of Key's legacy in gospel music. Over decades, he has built a career marked by powerful vocals, inspirational lyrics, and mentorship of countless young artists. This incident, while alarming, highlighted the depth of the love and respect the gospel community has for him. It became clear that Key is more than just a performer. He is a symbol of faith, resilience, and dedication to ministry. Even in the wake of the health scare, Key's message was one of hope and perseverance. He encouraged fans to continue praising, serving, and loving one another, reminding them that faith does not depend on a single person, but on the collective spirit of believers. His words resonated deeply, offering reassurance that while he may need to slow down, his influence and music will continue to inspire for years to come. As the video ended, Key smiled warmly and said, "I'm not done yet, but I am learning to honor the journey God has given me. Thank you for walking with me every step of the way." This story, from a shocking stage emergency to the personal reflections of one of gospel music's most beloved figures, is a powerful reminder of both the fragility of life and the strength of community. Fans witnessed vulnerability, love, and resilience all in one moment. So what can we take away from this? First, even icons like John P. Key are human. Second, the response of the gospel community shows how connected and supportive this network truly is. And third, it is a call to cherish every moment and value health, faith, and family. Now, it's up to the fans, the community, and everyone watching this story unfold to continue praying, supporting, and celebrating the legacy of Pastor John P. Key. And while the details of this incident will continue to spark conversations, one thing is certain: his music, ministry, and impact are far from over. So let us honor him not just by concern for his health, but by continuing to carry forward the messages he has shared through decades of gospel excellence.